Smoke
anyway,
Dragon,
what you got, man?
what you got?
Okay, so I told you to remember about Kim Kardashian,
Yeah.
and I don't remember your statement, but apparently
She
it sounds
got
like,
booed.
and then they made it sound like she was applauded.
Yes.
Well, they edited it when it forward to
So I was thinking about this the other day. Kids got sent home from school due to inclement weather.
Yes.
Had to do a little bit of
The threat.
I think it was a finish today from home type of situation.
Yeah.
So, and I realized, I remember being in high school, and I was bootlegging soda pops out of my locker.
You got a little Debbie's with it?
Nope, it was just Mountain Dew and Dr. Pepper's all I kept because those are the hot sellers, but it was stacked full of the cubes. That was about the time the cubes came out, and they fit right in there. So I had to carry everything I had in my backpack. And that SOB weighed as much as I did with the books from all those classes. Now, the kids these days have their Chromebooks.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, that's cool. That must be easy. But I got to thinking, and I'm just going to read this word for word so it makes sense here because I've had a couple. So as the world moves away from books and toward digital records, how are we going to keep history alive for future generations to learn from? And how do you ensure the integrity or accuracy of those records? And my point is, when everything's digital, if the masses say, hey, we probably just shouldn't talk about the Wandering Dutchman because them fat bastards are not what we want people thinking successful is in
Right.
this day and age.
Of course.
So they just wipe us from the records just with the delete button.
Like
so
the,
very Orwellian 1984.
Sure, but I mean,
Like that pool?
so you
What
go
was
through or the Orwell.
George Orwell wrote 1984, and I think Dave's theme here is very 1984-ish, to which you can delete history. And what is history then? Very common to what you see now with taking down statues.
So, like, go to the encyclopedia. When I was coming up, not everybody had encyclopedias. You had to have a little bit. Your family had to be doing okay, but a lot of people had encyclopedias.
yes.
So you had a printed version of history that was accepted by the general public.
Commonly accepted, yes.
There you go. And a lot of people in my generation, their parents probably still have it stuck down in the basement in a tote somewhere. You can't get rid of it. It's there. You can find it. But as we move on, and now all the school's done on a Chromebook, like all it takes is somebody to doot, and then change did happen to a could have happened, and then the whole course of history changes because we just don't want folks knowing that Tower of Babel stuff and the people.
humble brag here.
Yeah.
I was invited to be a speaker at a career day type
Okay.
thing and discuss podcasting with
Really?
younger generations because
It's always this guy.
Well,
because they
it's got to be the stash.
because they said
Surprised they'd let him into school with that.
they said that in the future that kids are not gonna there's not gonna be it won't be very long until there's no textbooks.
We're there.
Oh, we're there.
You know what I mean?
We're not buying textbooks. We're at best you're getting a classroom set now.
So with that being said, she said kids are not gonna sit down and read a book. They're gonna go to
Which is a shame.
yeah, they're gonna go to a podcast. They're gonna look at an audio book. They're gonna do something on a digital.
In my reading, I'm reading from my iPad because I don't want to go buy the book, and then where the hell do you put it? It takes a lot of
exactly.
space.
That's what I'm saying. So she was like, "Hey, I think it's cool for kids at a younger age to start learning about digital media and all these newer platforms and things like that, such as podcasting and everything." And I said, well,
Probably some of them ought to look at OnlyFans.
yeah, probably, maybe.
Figure out that.
I've been
When they
thinking about it.
become of age,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
again,
We
not
don't
like
condone-
kids or anything.
We don't do the
Jesus.
R. Kelly
Good
thing.
grief.
Good
But anyway,
That took a turn.
yeah, I don't know, man. But I think that stuff though has been happening for a long time, and
But
you
it's
don't.
hard to recall an entire. So when the United States, so the teacher, what we teach is very much government approved, and
Well,
has been for a while.
that's obviously James Orwell's whole thing is that communicate his concerns related to authoritarian governments.
Yep,
Like what
there's
they-
my pro. See, I'm an
yeah,
anti-authoritarian.
like what they
person.
want you to learn, what
Yeah.
the government wants you to know about, right?
But it's weird to go back. Like Jenna found a box of just antique books at some sale in an antique store, and she just bought them to put on the shelf because the covers were ancient. But you read through, and it like one of them was a geography book from the early 1900s, and there's things different now than there was then, and there's still a record that it wasn't always the line in the sand wasn't always here. It moved type of thing, but now it's just bloop, 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 and that
so like
line never existed.
Wikipedia, for example, like
can be edited.
Yeah,
The
you
problem is I can go on
put
Wikipedia in there right now and say David Smoker, the famous podcaster,
Correct.
was known mainly
For his
for his
anti-government stance.
14-inch.
phallus.
Well, I was going to say Cricket Club, but sure.
Yeah, but like that's what I mean, like Wikipedia, but so many kids rely on shit from Wikipedia. Like if you go, like my kids will always, like if they get it's crazy to me because like when I was a kid, we did have the World Book set. Mom and Dad had
I had the student's handbook at home.
the traveling.
What a humble brag, that guy over there.
the
We got him
traveling,
with the gold leathering. And,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we did. We had the red and the blue or green.
yeah. So
But
did
like
we.
you know the dudes that came by and sell them or whatever, mom and dad buy them. Hell yeah, we got the whole set. Went to Oak Express in Evansville, bought a brand new damn
Big
book-
time.
book
guys
shelf.
got money just coming
Yeah.
out of his
bookshelf.
ears.
Hey, you got power plant money back
Power
in the
plant
day,
money.
boy.
Yeah, got roll call.
All right, so I'll throw the teacher out in me here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what we've had to do in the realm of education as this has happened over the last 25, 30 years is you've got to try to stay ahead of the game, and now it's AI.
Wow.
In the classroom, and
Yeah,
you know it's just part of it. You got to learn how to use it, but you have to teach the students the new version. So what, to David's point, you have to teach what's a valuable site, what's a real site,
yeah.
how do you fact check.
No
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
Well,
So-
good luck with
so
that.
you're
now.
yeah,
not-
you got to vet through a lot of crap.
You're vetting through that. So not only are you just going through the first two things that pop up on a Google search, you have to look who the author is, who's writing it, where's it coming from.
Yeah.
You're teaching those things.
Like
Grief,
sources.
what is that called?
So when we were in
Sourcing.
high school,
citing
sourcing.
sources.
Yeah,
But when we were in high school, you went to the library,
yeah.
and you
The
only
old
had
Dewey
two
Decimal
options.
System.
You only had two options.
Decimal
You had
What the hell? We got to go to the
encyclopedia.
old index or what's
Yeah.
was it not the
The
index?
Dewey Decimal System.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
smoke
Yo, do
screaming it.
Yeah.
Now you have, I mean, they're going to take the easy way out. They're going to pick the first two options on the Google
Yeah,
search,
yeah.
but
But I think here's what I'll say. Even when you look back through history, towns, cities, they used to have 2 newspapers, 3 newspapers, 4 newspapers. And you know why they did? Because one newspaper was a Democrat newspaper. One newspaper was a Republican newspaper. One newspaper said they were centrist. And so I think the problem that we face today is we're so quick to label the New York Times as what is their big the democracy dies in the darkness.
Fox
Well,
News
who are
is
they?
obviously right wingers and CNN are left wingers. You know what I mean?
But
Like,
here,
yes,
but
I
the
know
problem
what
of it
you-
is when you declare yourself the authority of what is there, that's not true. And I think what you've seen because of this movement where it's gone into like what Teddy Hoops is saying, you've seen a counter movement on avenues like Twitter where you have people that are like, I'm doing the work. Here's the sources. I'm not just some crazy Alex Jones figure screaming out wild shit, but like, here's my sources. Like, I think you see a lot more independent news outlets. And I think that that's why the debate about Twitter or X is so massive, because it should be a place of sharing ideas and be that town square.
Sure.
Without
freedom
there
of
being the
speech, like,
interference.
that's what it is.
But you even hear like, because the big news.
For a non-political podcast, I feel like I've really steered us off track in the last 9
it's all right.
episodes.
But I think like the Trump campaign group were raising Cain because they said that Google took down one of his ads. Like the real problem of what it is you have these multi-level corporations that are massive that back in the early days, you as a history guy, when they were breaking up the Rockefellers and everybody else saying you can't have these monopolies, you've actually done the opposite and you've created these massive monopolies now that control a lot. And that's the scary thing of it is that they've done this and they've not realized, or they do and they don't
They
care.
realize.
They know, because if you look at who Google donates to, probably 95% of money donated by Google exec goes to guess what side.
Yeah.
And then another 5% goes to the other side where they can say, well, we donate to them too. Yeah, but if you're donating $1 million and 950,000 is going to one side and 50 is going to the other, that's not necessarily supporting in an equal manner. So I think you'll have history will show that sometimes there's got to be an event or something that happens, and then there's a reaction that brings you back a little bit, a kind of counterculture movement. And I think a younger generation gets into, I don't mean to cut you off, but a younger generation gets into politics that grew up in this. They're going to say, you know what? Google is a problem because Google's too massive. They can control that. They need to be broken up.
And that's my point. So we all what do we call it? Breaking down a fourth wall. I always thought I was a Republican because that's what I knew my family was. Mm-hmm. And then when I was a young man and out of college, I thought I was a Republican because I was just a diehard Republican. And now I'm like, at best, I'm a libertarian because I really don't give two shits what somebody does in their own personal space. Just don't take my money because it's my money. But from now back, you could change your opinion. It's hard to do, but there was reference material where you could go back and research. If you found yourself at a crossroads, questioning a belief of anything, whether it be politics or the origin of butterflies, I don't give a shit. But you can go back and there's documentation there that's ancient, more or less, or and you can go back and see it.
Yeah, but
now we're getting to where everything's digital, and I believe that we are pushing society one way. The big we are pushing from two sides, but one direction. But now, how do you go back once you've decided in 20 years that, man, maybe there's more to this story? How do you go back and get any?
Well, but I think historians back in time didn't look at just one source. And I think that will have to continue forward, that you're going to look at, here's the main idea. Now I'm trying to disprove of what I have or what I don't have. And I think you're still going to have that. But I think, to your point, there's things like the Library of Congress. There's, they tuck away a lot of stuff where now they do a lot of digital stuff. But, that's why like small libraries in your communities are very important.
Yeah.
We're very lucky to have the library we have in Huntingburg. Full disclosure, I sit on the board as a board of trustees. I've been there for like 10, 11 years now.
Love my library.
But it's just one of those things.
To prove it.
Well, I think that the mower guy got it.
Oh, did it?
From the county. Yeah. If he's a fan of the show, like, hey, no big deal, pal.
Yeah, but
on the flip side, if he did, like, you ripped my library sign up.
Yeah, like, watch my library sign.
Yeah,
bro.
you son of a bitch. But I don't know, Dave.
Sucker.
Your concern is valid, but I think you'll start to see change when there's that generation that understands it, gets into it. But look at the current landscape of politics. What is it full of? Freaking old people that don't have a clue that when they entered into Congress, there was no internet. You didn't even have a fax machine. Like, they sent things by telegram back then.
Hell yeah.
But it just takes time for that to change. So,
Yeah, that's what I was wondering about.
Yeah.